morientio. Miserere reno. What if his name was Homer? And what if her name was Marge? And what if they had a son? And his name was Bart. And what if they had a daughter? And her name was Lisa. And what if they were the Simpsons and they went out for pizza? What's up, everybody? All right, coming at you live, coming at you strong, coming at you, well, not really live, you're watching this after effect, but my biggest contributions to the farm is telling Noel not to use the VTuber model somebody made for him. I feel like I was one of many voices actively participating in fighting back that chaos. Went back on the Kiwi farms for the first time in over a year, and immediately got a huge wave of nostalgia. I see people I love standing strong. I see people I hate embarrassing themselves. And I see Triple H pissing people off. Feels like I never even left. One thing I'll note is the overarching mentality there is high intelligence but middling humor. And that really just goes to show humor is born of empathy. That's where it lies. Humor is a more advanced form of the empathetic projections that you make on what is appropriate and what time based on the people around you and their personalities and their wants and their needs. It's that simple. It's gonna pop on there every once in a while to remember how cringe white people can be, though. Yeah, we can be pretty dang cringe sometimes, I'll tell you. What if instead of Obama, he was Orbama, and he looked at you and he said, "Oh, let me be Sphere." It's unironically true that Trump sees people for what's inside. Laura Loomer, Musk. My inner Lovecraft flares up and I start screaming about Fishman when I see Musk. Trump don't care. But Trump does care about Social Security, and if people lie to him, might not work out too well. I hear Musk has quietly been pushed out after a temper tantrum he threw about the tariffs. Hey, man. I'm really excited to not be talking about him so much outside of the space industry. If President Trump did all this to make people like him more by contrast, well, shoot, you got me. Juxtapose what? Bum bum meow. The way that a British priest named Father Maudsley explained Tikkun Olam, which is the Jewish idea of healing the world, which I used to venerate, but the way he explained it kind of explains Gnosticism and Yaldabaoth and the shared connections between them and the Masons and goofy Masons and their goofy esotericism. Everything is esoteric these days because people can't find a freaking word for complex that doesn't align with this, like, postmodern Frankfurt School crap. Nobody ever used esoteric to describe Bloodborne, all right? You gotta know your history and you'll find out there's a Lovecraft tradition in our fantasy that is a very Western version of the Saturnalian cults that the Talmudists worship, that they've gone back to worshiping golden calves through. Now, in Tikkun Olam, they're assuming God has made many mistakes and that they can assert their will to the correction of God, ignoring Genesis. But it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Judge slowly. A man's words precedeth his actions. Beware of hasty assumption. Where your heart is, that is your treasure. Store that up in heaven, and that will be your just reward. Bit of Aquinian theology for your face. South Park is so back, baby. Season 27 looks awesome! Let's freaking go! They just needed a little kick in the pants, some genuine kick in the pants. Romanticizing your suffering is not helping. And the first Trump administration was a big stress whirlpool. It stressed a lot of people out, but this time we're moving. We're moving, okay? And in that movement, South Park tends to thrive because they thrive under pressure and in intense conditions. That's why they sought out deliberately all of the conflict, all of the lawsuits, picking fights with Scientology, picking fights with Hollywood. That's why they sought them out, because that's where they thrive, you see. We're back, baby. We're back! A lot of people are wondering what the hell is wrong with Israelis and what's up with the Epstein stuff. Let me answer this in a simple way, even though the answer isn't as simple as words can describe, but here's a good way of starting to think about things. The act of defiling something that has a fundamental emotional attachment to it, and this is deep in modern art and what has happened to anime, like making you raise an animal and killing it from like 100 years ago, in various cults and military orders, lodges, and stuff like that, allows a person more perceived control over it. You see? Even though the reward is far more grave and dire than anything you could possibly gain from it. Gothco's really went off with the big stompy boots, but the white face paint, way more points off than that gives. Ew. 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 Like, really, gross. Why is the Rizzler a thing? I've never seen him do anything. Is he just kind of like a flag for childhood obesity? Is he propped up by the sugar companies, by the Coca-Cola Corporation? Is that what the Rizzler's doing? He's just a kid. Like, he's literally like a child actor who is kind of independent, so he doesn't have the same sort of like mental damage being inflicted on him consistently. I don't get it, man. This is not something I understand. Alright, this is gonna be just a little mini episode. I'm gonna go take a nap. Hope everyone has a good one. Hope everyone has a good rest of your week and had a good Sunday. Take care. Cheers.